In Surah Baqarah, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, O believers, enter into Islam wholeheartedly and do not follow Satan's footsteps. Surely he is your sworn enemy. What I have noticed for more than a decade now is that people often take the above quoted ayah in a very negative way, when in reality, this ayah is anything but negative. But people quote the words of Dr. Israr Ahmad, Rahimullah, and how he said in one of his lectures that Islam is a package deal, take it or leave it. And in one of his lectures, he rephrased these words as take it completely or get lost. And some of these people, they feel after hearing these words, they somehow feel obliged to, in their own words, they feel obliged to get lost, which I find very strange because from a lecture of 1 or 2 hours, they decided to take nothing but getting lost. It's kind of sad. Like, I feel it's like not appreciating all the hard work that a teacher or a scholar has put into those lectures, not appreciating the time and energy and effort that has been put into it, not appreciating all the advice and suggestions and knowledge that was given in the 1 hour and 59 minutes, and deciding to overlook all that positivity and choosing to focus on one sentence that offended us, or choosing to react on the tone of a teacher that he used in one sentence, and we ignore every other positive thing. Every positive thing in that lecture is overlooked because of one sentence that offended us. Now, this isn't to say that we shouldn't be sensitive to the feelings of those listening to us, but if we start looking at things a little differently, just a slight change in the angle, we can see a very different picture. The same picture that we saw, we will see it in a new light. Sometimes all we need is this slight change of angle. And it's okay if we can't make that change. That's why we have each other. We help each other by, let's just say, by letting other people take a look through our lens. Because now we know that our angle is a little different, slightly different from the angle of the other person. We can learn from each other. This is what makes diversity so beautiful. Everybody has something to teach us, and we have some things that we can teach others. It reminds me of the beautiful, beautiful words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Convey even if you know just one ayah. What does it mean when we read the hadith? Convey even if you know just one ayah. It reflects the selflessness that is embedded in Islamic teachings. It highlights that knowledge, no matter how small, because I don't think any knowledge is small, it depends on the other person. Teaching a child how to tie his shoelaces is a small thing, a seemingly unimportant knowledge, but for that child it is important knowledge. It might seem small to us, but it's not small for the child. The child needs to have this knowledge, so no knowledge is small. And this hadith, it teaches us that knowledge must be shared, because withholding it would be detrimental not only to others but also to ourselves. So this hadith, this is a call for sharing knowledge. It is not just about the transfer of knowledge, it's about recognizing that Islam doesn't exist in isolation. You just have to, that slight change in perspective, and we see that personal piety without societal impact is incomplete. The one ayah we teach can ripple out to have far reaching effects beyond what we can possibly or immediately see. So, sharing and spreading knowledge is both an act of compassion and an extension of one's faith in action. That's how beautiful Islam is. It doesn't let us keep our lenses to us, it doesn't let us hoard our knowledge, it tells us to share it. So, as I was saying, a slight change in the angle can help us understand the bigger picture. Let me try to give you a perspective about this ayah that I was talking about. Enter into Islam wholeheartedly. This perspective gets most often overlooked when people talk about this ayah. It scares people instead of propelling them towards change. Now, when we refer to Islam as deen, the way of life, what actually does it imply? It implies that it has to include all areas of life in it, all areas of life, for every single person, whether young or old, right? Irrespective of age, irrespective of gender, or our backgrounds, financial, religious, etc. Because the more we, let's just say, zoom out the picture, the more we realize that everything is in fact interconnected. And that means we need a system of life that holds both the micro view as well as the macro view. Otherwise, what's the point of sharing knowledge? What is the point of sharing one ayah, conveying one ayah? If that's all that we know, what is the point of it? Things are connected, that is the point. So, the way of life, the deen should be able to give us a whole picture, not only when we zoom in, but also when we zoom out. It shouldn't be limited to specific rituals or private spirituality. It needs to be an interconnected system that addresses every area of human experience, from individual character to societal structure. What this ensures is that no aspect of life is left vulnerable to distortion or misguidance, which is what happens when only partial truths or fragmented values are emphasized. And it is currently happening in our society, in our culture, in our own homes. The way Dr. Israr Ahmad, Rahimullah, he used to say, I don't remember the exact words that he said, but the underlying message was that society gets corrupted and decays when homes get corrupted and destroyed. That's why it would be an incomplete system, an incomplete way of life, if it is going to leave too much space for distorted way of life. Even if it teaches us to be upright in certain areas of life, the vacuum that it leaves becomes a space where distorted values and corruption takes not just roots, but flourishes. Even if individuals strive for righteousness in isolated aspects of life, an incomplete system leaves room for disarray and moral decay in the areas left unaddressed. So the corruption seeps into other areas of life. When we have this understanding of the world, it is then that the holistic nature of Islam becomes clearer. Because now we realize the importance of taking both the zoomed in and zoomed out perspectives. From a close up view, Islam not only tells us but guides personal integrity. It not only tells us to have strong character and uphold moral decisions in daily life, but it teaches us what morals are, what having a strong character actually means. It not only defines but takes us by hand in a way and teaches us. But when we zoom out, we see how Islam's guidance extends to social justice. It extends to economics, governance, the welfare of the entire community, any area of life, any area that we can think of. It creates a balanced and just system for society at large, not just Muslims, but non Muslims too. This is what makes Islam appealing to fitrah, the fact that it is not fragmented. This interconnectedness reflects the fitrah of humanity, our innate need for purpose, harmony, and alignment between the individual and the society. A true way of life, a true deen, must be flexible and balanced enough to meet personal needs, right? While being comprehensive enough to address collective needs as well. And Islam fulfills this need. Islam helps us navigate life in a way that is cohesive, that is balanced, and that is in harmony with our natural disposition. It is Islam's wholeness that appeals to fitrah and its dual responsibility toward personal and societal growth. Being a way of life, it guides us to align ourselves completely with Allah Azza wa Jal's divine message, both in our inner and outer worlds. How beautiful it is that not only does Islam stress on personal growth, but it also stresses on bringing positive change in society. And how does it do that? By defining the flawed ideas, the philosophies, and the definitions prevalent in a society. What makes Islam beautiful is that it is not a selfish ideology. So when the ayah says enter into Islam wholeheartedly, it is an advice meant to protect us from falling into darkness, from crawling on ground by sabotaging our own potential of achieving great heights. The ayah is teaching us not to damage ourselves and the society by choosing a life of fragmentation. Fragmentation leads to imbalance, both spiritually and mentally. It will lead to cognitive dissonance because incomplete submission will result in contradiction within a person's life. It will cause inner turmoil, not just outward confusion. A bird needs its both wings to be able to fly. Think about it. If an eagle has one wing of its own and the other wing of a sparrow, will it be able to maintain balance? Will it be able to fly? Personal development and development of the society, personal cleansing and the cleansing of the society are two wings of the same bird. Only one wing will get us nowhere. In fact, those who observe objectively, be it Muslims or non Muslims, they will find the condition of an eagle with mismatched wings, unable to fly, unable to maintain balance, either pitiful or contemptible, depending upon their observation, depending upon who is observing. And we are witnessing this. We are witnessing this contempt from Muslims as well as non Muslims. So, Islam's call is to unify one's thoughts, actions, and beliefs in harmony with divine guidance. This emphasis on aligning both personal development and societal transformation is central to the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where his personal worship and purification, it went hand in hand with his efforts to cleanse and reform the societal ills of his time. Islam teaches us, this ayah teaches us, that it's not enough to focus solely on a personal growth while ignoring the larger community, or vice versa. The two must be integrated as they are interdependent. Without both wings, like I said, the eagle cannot soar. So when Allah Azza wa Jal says, enter Islam completely, it is not just a warning. It is a compassionate advice to save us from getting fragmented, from falling into cognitive dissonance. Islam teaches us not to squander the gifts and capacities that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us. Entering Islam completely means recognizing that we are capable of soaring to great heights, not just as individuals, but as a unified ummah, transforming ourselves and the world around us in the process. Imagine how beautiful this ayah is, what depth it has, but I don't know why we project so much negativity on it. It's a beautiful ayah. It's a balanced ayah. It's a healthy ayah. It has no toxicity in it. That's how beautiful this ayah is. Well, I hope this makes us see this ayah in a positive way, and how much depth there is. I hope we are able to appreciate it even more now. So, until next time, Assalamu alaikum.